What? What do you want to do?
Trying to get comfortable.
Oh, okay. Good luck. We're going to try not to edit this a lot because it's really late and it's got to be out in the morning and we just haven't made a video because it's been a crazy week.
So let's talk about that. So we want to update you guys on what's going on because
I have dirty glasses. Is that what you're talking about?
No.
Humor is my defense mechanism. Please continue.
We have a lot going on, and if you're invested in our family, been watching a while, what are you doing?
Cleaning my glasses with your sleeve.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Then you might be interested in what's happening. You know, we have this little thing in the world called a pandemic.
The Rona, if you will.
Going on, which if you didn't know, I had it back in August. Our whole family was quarantined. No one else tested positive, but Brandon had symptoms. The kids never really had anything. It's been obviously crazy all over the world with that. And so that with political climate and just everything that is going on societally.
There's like a national tension and then there's like our own tensions. And this is not to whine and complain and say, oh, woe are us, because our difficulties, like, it's not a competition, but also like, wow, we don't win that game. I am aware of 2 different people who, in this last week, have lost adult children. And one of them I talked to about it, and their whole world is wrecked. And like, wow, we don't have that going on. Mm-hmm. And then I was just watching this thing where this guy was horrifically burned at work, and his wife was worried about him and didn't know if he was going to make it. And wow, we don't have that going on. And I've had family members in the hospital in the last week, and wow, we don't have that going on. And yet this has been, I would say, definitely for you, maybe for us, like the hardest week.
In like a year at least.
In the last year or so, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's just a culmination of a whole bunch of stuff that just all happened in one week, or God just bringing us down to our knees because we need him. I don't know. And so, you know, let's fill you guys in. So in our New Year's video, which if you didn't watch that, we will link it in the description box below and up in the cards. And we talked about our dreams for us personally and the channel. And so kind of what we've been discussing this week is our dreams. And we've asked God for a vision of what would be our future, you know, 5 years, 10 years out. And we feel like he answered and gave us a glimpse of at least part of what that dream could look like. And then it's like we got this burden and tried to figure out and make it happen in like a week. And it was kind of this...
Well, I think we should say what it is too.
Okay.
To some extent.
Okay, well, so our...
Have you ever wanted to get like 20 to 100-ish acres, kind of like half an hour away from everything at bare minimum, but maybe with 45 minutes from a Costco at most, because Costco hauls, right? And like build a barn dominium, and then in the next few years after that, maybe a retreat center, and have a lake and a forest. And okay, you know, you...
Yeah, so kind of like we know that we want to build something of our own. We didn't know what that meant. We had never worked together in a professional capacity until we started YouTube together. We became an LLC thanks to this guy and all of his paperwork, and just finding out over the last...
And thanks to LegalZoom, please sponsor us, because we need it for the dream.
And just having everything that we have accomplished in the last year and a half with YouTube, and then launching a paid product, and then having all these visions for other things that we want to launch and write, and like devotionals and do printables and stuff for our channel. We had never worked together until then, and that was great, and we have found that we really like it. And so we kind of were like, well, hey, maybe like in the future God will let us be able to build something together, a company, have employees one day, like, which is super scary, by the way. But then we asked for a vision, like, where is OFB going? Because we have no idea. All I know is that a year and a half ago, God said to start YouTube. And I was like, I'm an extreme introvert, had no video editing skills, never took a film class, nothing. And I'm not even like, I would say a writer. People who do blogs and stuff, a lot of times they branch out and do YouTube and stuff. And I'm not even that. Like, I'm just such an extreme introvert, homebody. Like, I like to clean and organize and be with my family. And then God was like, hey, do this. And it was so clear. And through that, working together, we got this glimpse that we felt like God was saying, this is in your future. We then proceeded to try to like make it happen, like look for property, like figure out where we're going to move, what jobs we're going to do, how we're going to handle like kids and stuff, and like all of this. And then it was like so overwhelming for us. And
in all of this, like, I know that God has not told me to go anywhere. Like, the church that we're part of, that I get to be a pastor on staff in, we love the church and don't want to go anywhere. And that's our family. And God has not called me anywhere else. So how does that line up?
Right. And like, I just took a new position at work, which is a promotion. And it's a lot of work because right now, the department is not in a great situation. We need to hire like half of a department. And so managing all of that and pouring into the team that I do have, because really I couldn't do it without them. And it's just a lot. And then also having this vision that then became a burden instead of like a flashlight on like steps to take, just so overwhelmed us and was weighing on us and stressing us out. And I pretty much had a mental breakdown one of these days, Thursday maybe.
And we tried to figure out, like, financially,
yes,
how to make it happen in the next 5 years, too. And it's just like, there's not a way. Because, okay, so if you haven't figured it out yet, we don't do debt, right? Which means we don't have credit cards, and we don't take loans on things, and we really don't want to take a mortgage on anything. But, oh my gosh, you can't buy land with a mortgage anyway, and so you got to buy it in cash, or I don't know. And it's just crazy expensive, and we live in Florida, and that's crazy expensive. Plus, there's no mountains in Florida. What's up with that, Florida? Can you get some mountains?
Well, yeah, and then we were just digging into, like, legally you can't, like, unless you buy land cash, like, you have to claim what it's for, and then, like, it's just all these things.
You can't live on it unless the plumbing and electrical is done, so you can't do that yourself because then where you're going to live.
Yeah, it's like a whole rabbit trail.
This might sound silly to you guys, but nothing has captivated our imaginations like this dream in the last few months has.
Yeah, and then it's like we go down and all these new things get introduced to us and we're like, wow, that sounds really cool. Ooh, yeah, we could see ourselves doing that. And then we were just trying to make it happen. And
as opposed to like trusting that if God put it on our hearts, like he was going to make it happen.
Right. So basically, we want to talk about how do you chase your dreams or a vision that you feel like God has given you without taking over? Like, that's what we want to talk about a little bit, because we feel like we kind of went down this hole and then have kind of come back up a little bit to surface for air, because when we realized that's what was happening, we were like, okay, we just need to take a step back, because basically we took an answered prayer for a vision and then took it from God and said, okay, we got it now. And that is completely not how it works. At least not the best way that it works.
I were speaking to anybody as a pastor, or she were, like, who is having this same kind of issue, we would know what to say. We would know what to tell them. Like, we'd know the truth. But gosh, have you ever tried to preach to yourself, guys? It's really hard.
I feel like when you ask God for something, it's obviously either going to say yes or no or not yet. And for us, it was like yes and not yet. And that was hard for us because we just wanted to jump on it. Like, it's obviously something that we're passionate about, but there are so many logistics that would have to happen before that we just had to step back and say, listen, God, if this is what you have for us, and maybe it's not even exactly what we think, but like aspects of that.
Maybe we're supposed to join the circus. Who knows? Probably
I doubt
not the circus.
But
not the circus.
Then we just need to trust that God will make it happen in his timing and in the way that it's supposed to happen. Like, and this is where I think it's key that we remember what God has done already in our lives.
Right.
Like the last 2 times we've moved, it has been in the right timing, and God has provided the perfect place for events that happen. So like our first house we lived in for 5 years, and then a hurricane hit. No, before the hurricane hit is when the roof caved in, right?
Yes.
And then the hurricane sealed it because he didn't board up the house at all, and it's his property. And we decided then, okay, we're moving. So we moved, and then God brought us to a different location and a different house that the layout was perfect for. I got pregnant and then had Brielle, and for that stage of life, that was the perfect house for us and location. And then when they sold that because it was owned by a bank, God provided this current house, and it's been the perfect house and location for this season, like when the Rona hit, and like just the whole layout of it has allowed us to do so much. And it's like, okay, God, you have provided for us, and we just need to remember that and trust that if you want to give us land that we really want, 5, 10, 20 acres, like you will provide it in the right location, and that it will be the right price, that we will have the finances for it, and that it will become clear, and that we will have peace about it. And I think, processing this now with you is that though we saw the vision, like we both didn't have peace about it as far as like location and what to do next to do it. And that's what was really weighing on us too, is because there wasn't this like security in it. It was like, we have this idea, but we're trying to like climb up and get there, and we can't because it's not the right timing.
Yeah, and I think that what we can see scripturally and even experientially, like if you are on God's path, you may not be happy all the time. You may face a lot of difficulty, but in the face of difficulty, you'll have peace.
Yes, that's very true.
I think that when you are, and I've prayed that kind of prayer too, and why have I not prayed it for this? But a really good prayer to pray is, if you're bold enough to do it, which we need to do about this, we've done it before. Like, if you don't know what to do, ask God when you don't just stand still. If you need to be moving, move, but ask God if you take a step in the wrong direction to make it bitter and make it ungood and make you uneasy and make you just know it's wrong. But if you take a step in the right direction toward His best, His will for you in this situation, that He would give you peace about it. And I think He's honored that in our lives before. I think it's a biblical pattern. I think that's how we should have started out this conversation. And we haven't let go of this thing either. Like, I think did I cut you off at all? I think our direction here is move in that direction, but we have to go off the last understood orders, right? The last direction we know we got from God. So it's okay. We haven't gotten that much direction, right? It's like, I knew I was called to serve the church I'm in now. Check. Okay, did that starting back on staff since 2012, right? Okay. And we knew we were supposed to get married. Check. All right. Then
2012.
2012, so 2012, yeah. We made children. I feel like that was a God thing. We prayed and begged God for a long time because we had a bit of a
it took us a year
fertility
with
issue.
Benjamin.
Yeah. And then the last thing we got from God was
after we had Brielle and all of that,
in June of 2019,
was start YouTube, start a channel.
Check. We're doing that now. We did it. We're in it. And so I do think that this is supposed to be part of how we get to wherever He's going and whatever way He wants us to do things. But I think another important part of it is these things were never supposed to be selfish things, right? Like, we're not just together married so that we can be married and share finances. That's more of a pain than anything. It's difficult, right? You have to learn new things to do that well. We'll talk more about that sometime probably. But we're together so that we can be more effective in the kingdom.
And we really are. Like, we've seen it time and again. Like, when we pour into people, we are better together with both of our viewpoints, with both of our past experiences. Life is better together, y'all. It's a thing. You should, And that is what we have a passion for, and it fuels us, and it like energizes us. And though it's exhausting when, we're chatting with people sometimes late into the night, not so much recently, obviously, because of, world events, but earlier on in our marriage when we did a lot more of that, especially before kids, like that is what we were like, yes, this is what we were meant to do. Like, I feel like this YouTube is a thing that we need to do, and maybe a way to get to doing that more often, and having something develop that gives us time freedom and financial freedom. Like, not that we won't be working, because we'll be probably working our butts off more if we are working for ourselves, but with something that gives us extreme purpose and meaning, because when you have no purpose in life, I mean, it is pretty, like, depressing. Like, you could definitely, I mean, I've definitely, when I've lost sight of God's purpose for me and I am not in the Word as regularly and reading my Bible, then I definitely slump down into, like, a little bit of a depression until I start praying, and then I realize, no, God has a purpose for me, and I need to be closer to Him, and I need to serve other people. And because people are the reason, like Him, obviously, and then people are the reason why we're here. And, like, when we aren't intentional about those two things, then life's pretty depressing, and nothing will fulfill it. No shopping, no eating, no thing you buy, no house you have, no land you have, no view you have, no trip you go on, like, no experience you have is going to be, worth it. So
that was good. That'll preach.
Boom. Drop the mic.
So this is what God has called us to do together for now and for the near future, and we think there's a lot of legs on it. We think it's going in a lot of places. We have some huge ideas about what we could do with Our Family B. We're starting to hopefully get some social media help, because we don't have time to do that and, like, also be parents and a married couple and do this. So hopefully that'll and work. Yes, with the many hours, both of us. But if you're still watching this and you haven't subscribed yet, please just subscribe, because this is the vehicle. This is how to get there. And if you've been subscribed for a while and you love what we do and you can spare a few bucks a month to help support our vision, then please go and click on the Patreon link below. You can also do YouTube channel memberships. That's probably the biggest way we're going to grow. Or if you work for somebody who wants to sponsor a micro-influencer, maybe try that, because it's not like YouTube ad dollars are going to be our major source of income probably ever, but you guys can help us get there and help us achieve whatever it is that God's putting on our hearts.
Yeah, and if you like any of our videos and they really resonate with you, and you have a friend that would really like it too, then share it with them. We honestly want our community to grow, because that's how we're going to reach more people. And, like, we want to add value to people, because people are what matters. That's what I was just talking about. So we have people on our Discord chat, which, if you check out the Patreon link, then you get access to our Discord chat, which is basically like a huge text message with a whole bunch of awesome people. And we love getting to do life with them. We share, like, behind the scenes stuff with them. We consult them with, like, ideas that we have, and
people are sharing prayer needs and encouragement with one another. It's really awesome.
Yeah, and it's just a really cool community, a little closer knit than, like, in the comments section. Although we love reading your comments in the comments section, and we see your names when you repeatedly comment. We know who you are, and so we're so excited when we see somebody's name that we haven't seen in, like, several videos, and we're like, oh hey, like, they're back. And so honestly, your comments do not go unnoticed, because I know sometimes it's really bad, because we are YouTubers, I guess you could say, and yet I watch a ton of videos and I never comment, and yet I religiously watch their videos. And so
isn't that funny?
I know I really need to, like, comment more, because
but the people who comment, we know. We see you, Trina. We see you, Juana Jordan. We see you, of course, Bitsambilas.
We love you guys, and we just wanted to share what's happening in our life. So have you guys had any major events happen in the last week or two? Like, if you want to share it, leave a comment down below. And listen, if you've made it this far, why don't you leave a sun emoji? Because, listen, we all need a little sun in our lives, and that way we'll know you watched all the way to the end.
The sun will come out tomorrow.
I don't know the rest.
Oh, I was so excited for a second. Anyway, we love you guys. Like, subscribe if you haven't. Comment, say things below.
And until we meet again, don't forget,
Life is better together. She high-fived me.
Ow, and now I remember why I don't. 'Cause it hurt.
I barely touched you.
It was your ring.
I love your wife.
I love you.